Each new sunrise is a fresh invitation to rise above yesterday's limits. And the most successful minds know that the first lesson of the day must be self-education. Before the world distracts you, gift yourself the power of knowledge. Whether it's reading a book, listening to a podcast, studying a new skill, or reflecting on your own thoughts, your morning learning ritual becomes the compass that guides your growth. When you educate yourself every morning, you align your purpose, sharpen your focus, and set the tone for lifelong success. This simple yet profound habit fuels your inner engine with clarity, confidence, and momentum. Because every morning you invest in learning, you're rewriting the blueprint of your future with wisdom and intention. Number 1, start with 15 minutes of intentional reading. Starting your day with 15 minutes of intentional reading is one of the most transformative habits you can develop, especially in a world flooded with noise, distractions, and surface-level scrolling. These 15 minutes are not just about consuming text. They're about investing in your mindset, nurturing your inner world, and planting seeds of clarity and purpose before the chaos of the day unfolds. When you read with intention, you're not reading to escape, you're reading to evolve. Whether it's a page from a powerful personal development book, a chapter from a biography of someone you admire, a spiritual text that grounds you, or even an article that challenges your thinking, this brief pocket of focus trains your mind to seek depth over distraction. Over time, this daily reading becomes mental conditioning. It sharpens your language, fuels your creativity, expands your emotional intelligence, and provides you with fresh perspectives to navigate life's challenges. The key here is consistency and curation. Choosing content that aligns with your goals, values, or areas where you desire growth. Just like how your body reflects the food you eat, your mind reflects the information you consume. Reading in the morning, especially before your phone steals your attention, creates a sacred learning space that is calm, undisturbed, and incredibly fertile for absorption. Unlike passive scrolling, intentional reading demands engagement. It encourages you to highlight, reflect, and sometimes even pause mid-sentence to internalize a powerful truth. This practice also builds your focus muscle, helping you resist the pull of instant gratification and instead train your brain to enjoy deeper intellectual rewards. Imagine what 15 minutes a day amounts to in a month. That's over 7 hours of deep learning and self-improvement. In a year, you could finish 10-15 books that could completely change how you think, decide, lead, or live. It's not just what you learn, it's who you become because of what you've learned. Morning reading also sets the emotional tone for your day. If you read empowering, enlightening content, you are more likely to walk into your tasks with clarity, confidence, and purpose. You start becoming proactive rather than reactive, deliberate rather than distracted. Your vocabulary grows, your self-awareness sharpens, and your mental state becomes anchored in growth instead of fear or scarcity. Whether you're pursuing financial success, spiritual peace, emotional resilience, or professional mastery, the written word, when chosen wisely, can become your quiet mentor, your trusted mirror, and your daily spark. So make it a ritual. Pour your morning tea or coffee, find a peaceful corner, silence your devices, and let the words of great minds and wise souls shape the architecture of your own. Because in just 15 quiet, focused minutes each morning, you're not only reading, you're rising. Number 2, listen to high-value podcasts or audiobooks. In today's fast-paced world, where time is often our most limited resource, one of the most effective and accessible ways to educate yourself every morning is by listening to high-value podcasts or audiobooks. This simple yet powerful habit transforms passive moments like getting ready, commuting, exercising, or even making breakfast into golden opportunities for mental growth and mindset elevation. Unlike traditional reading, which requires stillness and visual focus, audio learning allows you to multitask while still absorbing life-changing information, insights, and ideas. The key, however, lies in being intentional with what you choose to listen to. There's a vast sea of content available, but not all of it nourishes your mind or aligns with your goals. That's why curating your listening library is critical. Opt for podcasts or audiobooks that challenge your thinking, expose you to new disciplines, deepen your self-awareness, teach practical skills, or uplift your spirit. Whether you're diving into the timeless wisdom of thought leaders like Jim Rohn or Robin Sharma, exploring mental models from thinkers like Naval Ravikant, or learning business strategies, health tips, neuroscience, or philosophy, every episode or chapter becomes a mental upgrade. Over time, you'll find yourself quoting lessons, rethinking your habits, and applying what you've learned to your work, relationships, and goals. The power of repetition and consistency compounds, allowing even 5 or 10-minute daily doses to add up to hundreds of hours of advanced learning each year. This is how ordinary people build extraordinary minds, not through one-time motivation, but through daily exposure to growth-oriented content. High-value audio also keeps your brain engaged and curious, breaking the monotony of routine and stimulating inspiration even before your workday begins. It creates a subtle but powerful shift in your internal narrative. You start thinking bigger, feeling more empowered, and viewing challenges as opportunities for mastery. Moreover, hearing stories of struggle, innovation, and perseverance from real people builds empathy and emotional intelligence, which are as crucial as knowledge in today's complex world. Podcasts also give you access to unfiltered, real-world experiences that no textbook can offer. You begin to see the invisible patterns behind success, creativity, leadership, and resilience. And because the human voice carries emotion, tone, and nuance, audio often connects deeper than text alone, turning ideas into memorable moments. Listening in the morning sets a positive, purposeful tone, equipping you with insights and energy to approach the day with intention rather than inertia. Make this a ritual. Plug in your headphones with a sense of purpose. Tune into voices that elevate your mind and let your morning become a sacred time of inner transformation. Don't underestimate the compound effect of this habit. In a year, this quiet investment of time could shift your career, your mindset, your relationships, and your life. So, instead of waking up to noise, gossip, or negativity, choose wisdom. Let every morning podcast or audiobook be your fuel, your fire, and your focused guide toward a sharper, more enlightened version of you. Number 3, journal one insight you learned. Journaling one insight you've learned each morning is more than a writing exercise. It's an act of intentional reflection that transforms fleeting knowledge into lasting wisdom. When you take a few moments after reading a book, listening to a podcast, or learning something new to pause and write down a single insight, you're doing something powerful. You're forcing your mind to process, personalize, and preserve what matters most. This isn't about keeping a perfect journal or writing long essays. It's about extracting a golden thread from your morning education and threading it through your own consciousness so it becomes a part of who you are. Our minds are constantly absorbing information, but without reflection, most of it fades like dreams by midday. By journaling one key takeaway, you give that knowledge structure, meaning, and memory. Over time, your journal becomes a living archive of your growth, filled with bite-sized breakthroughs that reflect your evolving mindset. Whether the insight is as deep as a philosophical truth or as practical as a productivity hack, writing it down gives it emotional weight. You begin to notice patterns, what topics light you up, what ideas keep returning, what changes your behavior. This deepens self-awareness and reveals your authentic learning journey. The act of journaling also slows you down in the best way. It creates a moment of presence, where you're not rushing to the next thing, but fully honoring what you just learned. In this space, insights often expand. You might start writing about a quote you heard and suddenly find yourself connecting it to a personal challenge, a goal, or a memory from your past. That's where real transformation happens. When knowledge touches emotion and insight becomes action. Morning journaling also strengthens focus, clarity, and intention. You begin your day not just informed, but aligned. Instead of being mentally scattered, you're rooted in a fresh idea, a lesson that you can carry with you as a lens for decision-making, problem-solving, or simply staying grounded. And on days when motivation dips or life feels overwhelming, revisiting your journal reminds you of how much you've grown and what truly matters. This practice is especially powerful when combined with gratitude. If your insight is paired with appreciation for the opportunity to learn it, your journal becomes both a mirror of wisdom and a reservoir of positivity. And unlike digital notes, the physical act of handwriting, putting pen to paper, engages different parts of the brain and enhances memory, retention. It turns knowledge into experience. So make this a non-negotiable habit. After your morning reading or listening, ask yourself, what stood out to me? Write it down, even if it's just one sentence. Over time, these entries will form the roadmap of your inner evolution. They'll show you where you've been, how you've changed, and who you're becoming. Because when you journal one insight every morning, you're not just learning, you're living that learning in a way that shapes your day, your choices, and ultimately your destiny. Number 4. Study one new skill consistently. Studying one new skill consistently every morning is a life-altering habit that builds momentum, confidence, and personal mastery. One micro step at a time. In a world that rewards adaptability, innovation, and creative problem-solving, committing just 15 to 30 focused minutes each morning to develop a new skill can place you miles ahead over time. Not because you're working harder, but because you're working smarter and more intentionally. This could be learning a new language, exploring graphic design, coding, playing an instrument, refining your public speaking, diving into financial literacy, or mastering a business tool. Whatever aligns with your passion, profession, or personal goals. The secret is consistency and laser-sharp focus. Learning a new skill might seem overwhelming at first, but breaking it down into manageable daily sessions removes the pressure of perfection and invites the magic of compounding effort. The brain thrives on repetition and pattern recognition, and by touching the skill every single day, even briefly, you reinforce neural pathways that turn unfamiliar tasks into second nature. Morning is the ideal time for this because your mind is fresh, distractions are minimal, and your willpower is at its strongest. It's in these early hours that you lay the foundation for long-term transformation before the demands of the day scatter your energy. The beauty of focusing on one skill is that it eliminates decision fatigue and mental clutter. Rather than dabbling in many things and mastering none, you create a structured environment for deep learning. Over time, you begin to witness your own progress. Small victories like understanding a new concept, solving a tougher problem, or producing something tangible. And this visible growth becomes addictive and energizing. The act of learning also improves your cognitive flexibility, making you more agile, creative, and resourceful in other areas of life. It boosts self-esteem as you prove to yourself day after day that you are capable of more than you thought. Furthermore, mastering a skill isn't just about knowledge, it's about identity. When you show up for your skill consistently, you start seeing yourself not just as a learner, but as a creator, an innovator, a doer. You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. You realize that with enough dedication, no field is out of reach, no dream is too technical, and no goal is too far. So whether you're spending each morning refining your craft, building a side hustle, or simply following your curiosity, remember this: consistency always outperforms intensity. One new skill, learned one day at a time, can completely redefine your career, upgrade your confidence, and unlock doors you didn't even know existed. Make it a ritual. Set aside quiet time. Eliminate distractions. Track your progress, and most importantly, enjoy the process. Because the morning you decide to invest in a skill is the morning you declare that you're not here to stay stagnant. You're here to evolve, lead, and become the highest version of yourself. Number 5. Watch inspiring educational content, not just entertainment. In a digital age overflowing with endless entertainment, memes, viral reels, and quick dopamine hits, choosing to watch inspiring educational content every morning instead of defaulting to mindless scrolling is an intentional act of self-respect, discipline, and mental elevation. The first screen you engage with after waking often determines the tone, focus, and energy of your entire day. So ask yourself, are you feeding your mind growth or distraction? Watching educational content in the morning, such as TED Talks, motivational speeches, personal development videos, masterclasses, tutorials, or even spiritual teachings, nourishes your intellect and your soul. It doesn't just entertain, it enlightens. It gives you real tools, ideas, and frameworks that you can apply immediately to your life, work, relationships, and mindset. Instead of starting your day passively reacting to drama, gossip, or entertainment built purely for consumption, you actively choose to rise above the noise and engage with content that stretches your thinking and sharpens your awareness. Educational content inspires you with real stories of resilience, failure, innovation, creativity, and purpose. It reminds you that greatness is possible and that you're capable of far more than your comfort zone tells you. Whether it's a 10-minute video about the habits of successful people or a tutorial that teaches you a practical skill, these moments act as mental fuel. They help you stay future-focused, goal-driven, and purpose-centered. You start seeing the day as a blank canvas, not a burden, because your mind has been elevated with intention. When you feed your brain with insights, strategies, or emotional wisdom, you also prepare yourself to lead better conversations, make clear decisions, and solve problems from a place of clarity instead of chaos. Plus, watching such content builds emotional resilience, especially when you're exposed to stories of people overcoming adversity, taking bold action, and transforming setbacks into comebacks. These lessons often hit deeper than text because video combines voice, emotion, body language, and energy, creating a more immersive and memorable learning experience. It's important to note that this isn't about avoiding entertainment entirely. It's about balancing it with content that feeds your long-term growth and inner evolution. Your morning is a sacred window. Don't waste it on distractions designed to numb you. Use it to awaken you. Imagine how different your mindset would be if, instead of waking up to random scrolling, you consistently watched something that taught you something valuable, inspired you deeply, or gave you one breakthrough idea. In a week, you'll feel more focused. In a month, more confident. In a year, you'd look back and realize you've built a whole new version of yourself, powered by intentional learning, one morning at a time. So create a playlist of powerful educational content that aligns with your goals and values. Commit to starting your day with a dose of inspiration that fuels your vision and stretches your mind, because when you make the simple shift from passive entertainment to active elevation, you stop just consuming life and start creating it. Number 6, ask yourself one thought-provoking question. Asking yourself one thought-provoking question every morning is a deceptively simple yet profoundly powerful practice that can awaken your self-awareness, ignite your purpose, and guide your actions with deeper clarity. In the noise of everyday life, it's easy to operate on autopilot, reacting instead of reflecting, doing instead of understanding why you're doing it. But when you pause at the beginning of your day to pose a meaningful question to your inner self, you shift from being a passive participant in your life to an active architect of your growth. A powerful question such as, what am I avoiding that I need to face today? Who do I want to be in this moment? What would the best version of me do right now? Or if today were my last day, what would truly matter? Acts like a flashlight for your soul. It exposes your true motivations, insecurities, dreams, fears, and intentions. It helps strip away the surface level noise and connects you to your deeper truth. These questions don't need immediate answers. In fact, the best ones invite silence, thought, and reflection throughout the day. They linger in your consciousness as a filter through which you process your choices, emotions, and behaviors. And that's the beauty of this habit. It doesn't give you answers, it helps you uncover them within yourself. Over time, this builds emotional intelligence, self-mastery, and spiritual depth. You begin noticing the patterns that guide your decisions and the limiting beliefs that hold you back. You become more mindful of your thoughts, more intentional with your energy, and more aligned with your values. Asking yourself a question each morning also creates a personal dialogue, a sacred check-in where you honor your inner world before facing the outer one. This habit trains you to listen, not just to the noise around you, but to the voice within you. And in a world constantly telling you what to think, buy, and chase, this act of tuning into your own wisdom becomes revolutionary. It grounds you, centers you, and awakens the courage to live a life that feels right, not just looks right. It can also spark creativity and problem solving when you ask yourself, what's one bold step I could take today? Or what's a new way to look at this challenge? You activate your brain's executive thinking and innovation centers. This simple act becomes a daily reset button, a way to step back from the urgency and reconnect with what's truly essential. So, make this a morning ritual. After your reading or reflection time, write down or speak one powerful question to yourself. Sit with it, let it marinate, carry it into your day like a compass guiding your actions and responses. And over time, these quiet questions will build a loud transformation. Because life isn't changed by having all the right answers. It's changed by daring to ask the right questions and having the courage to live the answers when they reveal themselves. Number 7. Review a summary of a great book. Reviewing a summary of a great book every morning is one of the most efficient and impactful habits you can adopt to accelerate your personal and professional growth without overwhelming your schedule. In just 10-15 minutes, you can absorb the core principles, insights, and wisdom that an author may have spent years researching, experiencing, and articulating, giving you access to life-changing ideas in a fraction of the time. While reading entire books is incredibly valuable, reviewing summaries helps you revisit key takeaways quickly, reinforce lessons you've already encountered, or preview books to decide which ones deserve a deeper dive. It's a smart way to fuel your mind with powerful concepts, mental models, and actionable strategies, especially during the early hours of the day when your brain is most alert, receptive, and impressionable. Whether it's a timeless classic like Think and Grow Rich, a modern productivity guide like Atomic Habits, or a spiritual text like The Power of Now, reviewing a summary each morning injects your consciousness with distilled brilliance. The repetition of reviewing summaries also helps cement knowledge into long-term memory. What you review, you remember. And what you remember, you can apply. Over time, this builds a mental library of solutions, insights, and perspectives that you can draw upon in real-time situations. From navigating a tough decision to inspiring a team or overcoming self-doubt. This practice also cultivates the habit of lifelong learning, reminding you that no matter how busy life becomes, there's always time to grow, to reflect, and to stretch beyond yesterday's limitations. When you review book summaries consistently, you start to see recurring themes across disciplines: self-discipline, emotional intelligence, resilience, gratitude, leadership, mindfulness, and innovation, all reinforcing one another like puzzle pieces in your evolving mindset. The beauty of summaries is that they cut through the fluff and highlight the essence, allowing you to walk away with just one golden idea that could influence the rest of your day or even your life. You don't need to retain every point. Just one powerful takeaway can trigger a shift in how you think, behave, or lead. And in a world filled with mental clutter, simplicity is power. Use apps like Blinkist, Shortform, Mentorbox, or even YouTube summaries to make this practice effortless. Turn it into a sacred morning ritual. Brew your coffee or tea, find a quiet space, and give yourself the gift of one new idea before the world demands your attention. Jot down a quick note in your journal, reflect on how it applies to your life, and carry that insight into your actions. Over weeks and months, this habit becomes a quiet revolution within you, fueling you with wisdom, clarity, and confidence to navigate life with intention and intelligence. Because when you start your day with the distilled brilliance of the world's greatest minds, you're not just reading, you're reprogramming your thoughts, upgrading your mindset, and equipping yourself to lead, create, and live at a higher level. Number 8. Learn from mistakes and wins of yesterday. Learning from the mistakes and wins of yesterday each morning is a powerful self-growth ritual that transforms your daily experiences into fuel for lifelong wisdom, progress, and inner mastery. Every single day you live holds valuable feedback, whether in the form of a small success or a painful misstep, and reflecting on those moments in the quiet of the morning gives you the clarity to refine, recalibrate, and rise stronger. This practice isn't about dwelling in regret or ego. It's about approaching your own life like a wise observer, asking yourself, what did I do well yesterday that I can build upon? And what didn't go as planned, and what can I learn from it? These questions open a door to self-awareness and personal accountability, the cornerstones of sustainable growth. When you take time to look back, not just glance, but really reflect, you'll begin to spot patterns in your behavior, triggers in your reactions, and habits in your thinking that either support or sabotage your goals. A small emotional reaction that derailed your focus, a missed opportunity you were too afraid to seize, or a moment where you acted with courage and clarity, each carries a lesson. Morning reflection is powerful because it gives you distance. With sleep comes a mental reset. And when you revisit the day before with fresh eyes and a centered mind, you can view your actions with less judgment and more objectivity. This process turns your life into your greatest teacher. You begin to celebrate your wins with gratitude, reinforcing the behaviors that serve your highest self, and you confront your mistakes not with shame, but with curiosity and compassion. What could I have done differently, or what did that situation teach me about myself? These questions gently challenge your ego and expand your emotional intelligence. And it's in this self-honesty that real change begins. Moreover, this habit builds resilience, because once you realize every setback holds wisdom and every win holds a seed of a habit worth repeating, failure no longer defines you and success no longer blinds you. You stay grounded, humble, and focused. You also start approaching each new day with greater intentionality because you're armed with insight, not just information. Over time, this reflection creates a mindset of continuous improvement. You're no longer guessing your way through life, but using your lived experience to refine your path with precision. It empowers you to become the author of your transformation, not just the actor in it. Whether you write down your reflections, meditate on them, or simply think them through with your morning coffee, this habit turns time into your ally. The past no longer weighs you down, it becomes your springboard. The key is consistency. Every morning ask yourself what yesterday taught you. Carry forward the victories, release the baggage, apply the lessons, and show up just 1% better. Because when you learn from the footsteps of your past, you stop circling the same mountains and start climbing higher with every sunrise. Number 9. Affirm your identity as a lifelong learner. Affirming your identity as a lifelong learner every morning is a deeply empowering act that shapes not just what you do, but who you are becoming. It redefines your mindset, realigns your purpose, and reinvigorates your commitment to growth beyond temporary motivation. When you declare, "I am a student of life," you embrace a mindset that is open, curious, humble, and ever-evolving. A mindset that sees every moment, every challenge, every person, and every experience as an opportunity to learn, grow, and expand. This daily affirmation becomes a powerful anchor, reminding you that your value does not lie in how much you already know, but in your willingness to keep learning no matter where you are in your journey. It cultivates a growth-oriented identity, one that doesn't fear mistakes, but uses them as stepping stones, one that seeks feedback instead of validation, and one that replaces the ego's need to be right with the soul's desire to understand deeper. When you speak this truth into your day, you strip away the illusion that learning ends with school or degrees and awaken the awareness that learning is your soul's lifelong assignment. This affirmation builds mental flexibility, emotional resilience, and a hunger for personal transformation. You stop measuring yourself by society standards of perfection and start measuring your life by your progress, your questions, and your courage to explore the unknown. You realize that you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to stay curious and keep moving forward. By affirming your identity as a lifelong learner, you begin to view challenges not as obstacles, but as hidden teachers. You start showing up differently in conversations, more eager to listen and less attached to defending your views. You become a magnet for wisdom because you are energetically open to receive it. And this shift isn't just internal. It begins to reflect outward in the way you live. You'll find yourself reading more, reflecting more, experimenting more, and showing up more authentically in your work and relationships. You become someone who inspires others, not by pretending to know it all, but by embodying the humility and hunger of a learner. This identity also keeps you grounded in uncertain times. When things fall apart or plans go off course, you won't crumble because you'll see it as part of your curriculum. You'll ask, "What is life teaching me here?" rather than, "Why is this happening to me?" Morning is the perfect time to affirm this mindset because it's when your subconscious is most impressionable. So speak it out loud, write it in your journal, or whisper it in prayer. "I am a lifelong learner. I grow daily. I seek truth. I evolve with grace." Let these words become your inner compass. Over time, this affirmation doesn't just change your thoughts, it rewires your reality. Because when you see yourself as a learner, you open yourself up to infinite growth. And in that space of becoming, you unlock your true, limitless potential. Educating yourself every morning is not just a habit. It is a sacred ritual of self-renewal, a daily declaration that you are committed to becoming wiser, stronger, and more aligned with your highest potential. Whether it's reading with intention, listening to empowering voices, reflecting through journaling, building new skills, watching transformative content, asking soul-searching questions, reviewing book summaries, learning from your past, or affirming your identity as a lifelong learner, each practice adds a layer of strength, clarity, and purpose to your being. Never underestimate the power of small, consistent actions. These quiet moments of growth compound into extraordinary change over time. Protect your mornings, guard them like gold, and use them to water the seeds of greatness within you. Be patient with your journey, stay curious, and remain teachable, for the wisest people are always